Dianne Partain was born into what appeared to be a normal American family.
Everybody that would look at my family would always feel like, oh, what a wonderful family, you got such a cool mom, such a cool dad. It looked so normal and so happy. Underneath all that, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't live in intense fear, intense darkness and loneliness and isolation.
From the time Dianne was 3 years old, she was raped by a male family member. She never told anyone out of fear of retribution, which grew worse as she got older.
It caused me intense fear. I felt like love from a man, affection from a man did nothing but hurt. The sexual abuse caused me to be very confused about men. I felt like all men were hurting all women everywhere. I just all of a sudden made a decision because I was afraid of men and comfortable with women. Then I obviously was a lesbian. I hardly even knew what that meant. Actually, I didn't really ever put a title on what I was feeling for many years because I didn't really know how to describe it. I just knew that I didn't feel safe with men. I did feel safe with women, and I wanted to be with a woman. I didn't like who I thought I was. I didn't feel normal. I didn't fit in. I felt like if people knew who I was and what I was, they would hate me, that they would look down at me. And because of that, I started doing, like in high school, I started doing amphetamines. I started smoking pot. I started turning to all kinds of drugs just to numb that feeling that I was having inside, the feeling of like the fear of rejection.
As an adult, she had several relationships with women, but deep down still hated herself.
The first thing on my agenda would be to just find some drugs, start using, and all I did from sun up to sundown was just try to stay high, just try to use as much drugs as possible.
In a desperate attempt for attention, Dianne slashed her wrists.
Even when the paramedics came, they looked at my wrist and they go, this looks like a person that didn't really want to kill themselves, but is just angry and confused and just asking for help. And I looked at the paramedics and I told them, I don't really want to die. I just can't continue to live the way I am.
The physical wounds healed, but the emotional scars remained. A new co-worker sensed her despair and persuaded Dianne to come to church. Dianne did, and asked Jesus Christ into her life. She rejected her homosexual lifestyle and stopped doing drugs. But it wasn't long until she was back to her old addictions. The self-hate ran so deep that one Sunday morning, Dianne found herself begging God to end her life.
I just prayed, God, I said, I'm not sure if it's a sin to kill myself, and so I don't want to have to do that, but I told him I couldn't take it anymore, that I couldn't live another day the way that I was. And I just begged him. I begged him. I was on my knees sobbing and just from the bowels of my inside, just begging him to please take me.
At that moment, God heard Dianne's cry. Dianne says an overwhelming sense of love filled her heart.
I saw myself as not Dianne the drug addict, Dianne the lesbian, Dianne the unloved, unlovely person, Dianne the ugly person. I saw myself as Dianne, the whole and complete child that he created me to be. I got in the car and went to this little church and went busting through the doors going, praise God, I've been set free from drugs and alcohol and lesbianism. And I was, they let me get up and share my testimony right away. They received me in love.
Dianne's friend from work taught her to read the Bible and get involved in church. Dianne also learned that she needed to forgive the family member who had abused her as a child.
I was set free for the first time. I felt like this newfound freedom, and it was just through forgiveness. Through forgiveness, I felt like I was given a new lease on life, a fresh start in life. It was extremely important.
Today, Dianne is happily married and living each day with Christ the center of her life.
I know that I love him more than anything in this world. I know that I've surrendered my life to him and I've given him myself. I couldn't imagine walking out of that. I couldn't imagine leaving his hands, leaving his safety. Just knowing that God, the creator of this universe, that spoke everything into his existence, is my dad. He's my papa and he loves me and I love him. And there's nothing in this world that can compare to that, nothing.